This is Mountain Man coming to you from parts unknown. Well, I put up a little quick post on my community page. If I don't know if y'all make sure make a little note. Check my community page. You find something interesting on there. A map of the United States. But anyway, I hope everybody's doing okay and hanging in there. And we're coming into the new week, and we're going to see what they got in store for us next time. And Mr. T's plugging along and putting up some interesting posts. And while people are getting into the chats, I do want to mention we talked Thursday and then a little bit Friday. I mentioned that Dick Van Dyke 1 minute clip out there, and Doug in Exile did a video on it. same notion I had. He's like, it's coming around to people that they're being manipulated. A lot of people they just take what they see on the news for granted. They have for decades. They repeat the party line. They don't know they're being manipulated and used. But now you see somebody in their 90s saying, "Hey, I feel a little manipulated." And so I'm traditionally a Democratic person. So it was also, that was the case with Joe Scarborough. He was acting all manipulated too. So and Al Sharpton, he came out from a couple of different angles. He was bringing up stuff that doesn't fit with the mainstream narrative, but what are they going to do? They can't shut him completely up. He's bringing up the fact that what they're doing at those campuses is turning a lot of people away from their so-called cause as far as these protesters are going. And it's making the Biden administration look like mud. Well, they already look like mud to us, but it's lifting a veil for a lot of people about how unprincipled, duplicitous they are. And some of these kids have got to be wondering, why am I doing this? Last week it was Ukraine. This week it's something over in the Middle East. Why are you doing this? And it's dwindling down to paid individuals, and it's getting more and more transparent that these things are orchestrated, right? Paid for. Nobody likes to be a puppet. Hi, Kim. How you doing? Sherry, Damon, Terry, Pappy Two Bears. David's here. Donna, how you doing, Donna? Debbie, nice to see you. Melvita, Gloria, Richard, how you doing? Single songwriter. Yeah, it's a lot of good stuff happening. It ain't all bad, right? And Diane, how you doing? Got a couple of Dianes. Lone Wolf, how you doing? Waken Trillium. Nice to see you all. So yeah, we know what's going on, but Politico put out a article. I've got a lot of stuff I've taken screenshots of. Hi, Sinsin, how you doing? And how'd you like my thumbnail? How'd you all like my thumbnail? Who are these people? Because Mr. T said that a number of times. Who are these people? Who are these people that would do so much harm to our country? As it goes down the list, where haven't they caused harm? I mean, allowing, enticing tens of millions of people to come across the border. And, it wasn't that long ago, folks. We were all, stay 6 feet away, stay home, stay safe. You can't go to the doctor unless you, had your treatment. I'll say treatment in your show. Everybody was poking their heads out of the window, and in their own home yelling at people walking down the sidewalk who weren't wearing something on their face, even though there wasn't nobody around. So now tons of people been coming across all year. Oh, that's right, because Biden said that was over with. He just waved his hand and it was over with, so it's okay. So anyway, Trump goes down the list about them destroying border security, our culture. Of course, they got to try to make that seem like there's something wrong with you. If you have a problem with people you don't even know where they're from, what they're speaking, they have no concept of the American way of life, what our laws are, in a lot of cases, how plumbing even works. And no, we're all supposed to say, hey, this is great. Yeah, real great. So who are these people? But I ran across that picture again because I was doing a little research on the magic letter, right? And I was talking my last broadcast about how they had been infiltrating protest groups. I'll put it that way. Back since the 50s and 60s, and military intelligence, and ever since the seminal event was Kennedy. What happened to Kennedy? But before that, we had groups infiltrating colleges and disruptions, local governments, people with what was back in the day called anti-American sentiments. Now, of course, it's cutting edge and stunning and brave by the mainstream media, not by the average American. But this stuff has been being tracked for a long time, and it never stopped. It started before the Kennedy assassination. It actually started with under the Eisenhower administration, under the pretext of school integration, where you had different governors and local governments violating the law, depriving Americans of their civil rights. And Eisenhower was the first one to send in troops to enforce federal civil rights. And that gave the authority, all right, to get the military involved, and it's never been removed. I forget how many national emergencies we have that are active right now. From back in the 90s, we've got national emergencies, and it gives the president certain powers. There are national emergencies, of course, since the Bush administration, 9/11, that have never been lifted. And Trump declared national emergencies himself and put out executive orders. So I don't think we've been in a situation where we've had to wait for an announcement by DJT or any other president that there has been some degree of military involvement beyond the Posse Comitatus Act because of prior national emergencies. So I said I'm going to find that post from the magic letter where it describes that, and I put in one word, okay, and I went to search it, and I'll tell you what that word is in a minute. I'll tell you, if you want to do some relaxing research, okay, that'll show you 53 posts, I think. Some of them are duplicate posts just to make a point or address an issue. But they have in there nice links to New York Times articles, YouTube videos to prove their points, but also to stir your memory, okay? So you can see what's been going on. And ever since 2 days after Mr. T said, you'll see what storm is coming, you'll see. Remember that, folks? So I'll go over that with you all, along with a lot of other stuff. Hi, Brenda. How you doing? Larry. How you doing, Larry? Larry made it in. Let's see if I missed anybody. I can only go so far back in the chats. Oh, yeah. We'll be hearing more about Eric Holder. And but that's not who's in the picture, single songwriter. Who are those two people in the picture? Daily Report went to Walmart on the rich side of town. Oh my gosh, they did. Well, I can't blame them. I'm just saying, if I lived across the border and down south and didn't even know what a brand new pair of shoes looked like, and they were waving me into this country, and I can't say I'd come here and be a thief, but I certainly wouldn't turn down the invitation. They've been invited in. Oh, Andrew, what'd you do? Go get a candy bar? Less than $100. Hi, Lori. Hi, Quilt. So, yeah, he's one of them, Tom. You can call him that, and then Bama, or you can call him Barry. Soweto is one of them. Sataro. Yeah, there you go. You got it. I see Tom put that in there. So, and thank you for twisting the words up so they don't get picked up by the rhythm. Where is he? I'm in here. Hi, him. I didn't say. Oh, there he is. When the shark bites. One of his admirers, single songwriter. They're holding hands in that picture. They're holding hands. Yeah. So we'll go over that. Hi, Debbie. We got Debbie, two Debbies. So anyway, we had Al Sharpton going against the grain. Joe Scarborough crying about how good Trump's doing, how bad Biden's doing. It, cry some more. And people like Dick Van Dyke and even what's his name, Bill Maher was coming out, and of course he was complaining that his tax dollars were funding all the people that were chanting anti-CMET and then tick slogans and stuff. And but he also came out and said Merrick Garland is no good. Merrick Garland, he's dragging his feet with these Trump indictments. What a ridiculous notion. I mean, they're trying to shove this stuff through as fast as they can. How you doing, KNS cleanup? Miss Bender Sue. So he not necessarily Garland. Hi, Angela. They're trying to shove this stuff through, and they're really pushing for this New York court to come out. And Trump put a lot of stuff out, And yeah, I'm not going to read it all verbatim, but I am going to read some of it because it's important. And Camperman, how you doing? Nice to see you. Hadn't seen you in a while. I hadn't seen you since Friday. So, oh yeah, Biden's pants, and then he's got they call it the walkers. They got all people surrounding him with briefcases and carry bags, and in between him and the press. And they said they were gonna tone his appearances down. Do less with more with less, or some kind of garbage like that. And Benny Johnson put out a picture and Trump reposted it. And let's see, there's on stage, there's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, might be 17 people. And above Trump is a big sign, says make America, and then the rest is great again. And Benny Johnson said, is Trump's VP pick in this picture? And Trump reposted that. Hi, Stephanie, how are you? Trump reposted that, which was pretty neat. So I'm not sure the name of everybody in the picture. It's kind of small. Maybe I can blow it up a little bit. But I can tell you some people I'm fairly positive that are not going to be in there. That, a lot of creators are talking about could be possibilities. As you all know, I've said that just forget about RFK being a VP. But now that's not to say RFK is not playing a role. Okay? Because I tell you what, he wants to get to the bottom of the situation, what happened to his father and his uncle. It's just that simple. But he's just not cut out to be a VP. And Trump doesn't need the oomph a vice president would bring to the ticket. A lot of people were talking about how Kennedy picked Johnson back in the day because Johnson would have brought him the Midwestern states and some of the southern states because Johnson was from Texas. Now, back in the day, it may have been true. But as Trump pointed out, modern times, the VP really does not bring votes. It's the primary candidate. So he doesn't. His metrics are so powerful right now. They're of course they're not putting it out on the news. Hi, my blessed garden. How you doing? Rubber Toe, the cat. How you doing? Humpty Biden, huh, Richard? So anyway, yeah, freedom of the Medal of Freedom ceremonies. They've done enough of them, and look at all the ones Obama gave out. Look at the ones Biden's been giving out. Well, I tell you what, Jack. Let's see if he gets a Medal of Freedom from Biden. We got a half a year for this thing to play out. And then close to 2 months after that, where Biden or whoever is in the office is supposed to stay till January 20th of 2025. So there's plenty of time for some crazy stuff to go on. But Trump put out a truth today. Capital letters, arrest deranged Jack Smith. He is a criminal. And Just the News put out, Trump whodunit. Prosecutors admit key evidence in document case was tampered with. Legal experts call revelations a serious violation as Jack team admits it also misled court. Now, I want to tell you something. And you all have heard me talk about it for a number of months. Midas trash. Okay, that's what I call them. Midas touch. And I've shown their garbage thumbnails, their slander, their invective, their desultory slurs 6, 7, 8 times a day, pumping out garbage on YouTube and getting 500,000 views. Okay, hundreds of thousands of views in 40 minutes, stuff like that. And I said, there's got to be attorneys behind that, and they should be held responsible for the disinformation and misinformation they're knowingly putting out. Well, I have seen Doug in Exile bring them up. I have seen Viva Frey bring them up, and in my feed, which the garbage dump at the top of my phone, where they try to put out news stories to me that like I'm dopey enough to believe it. Newsweek was putting out some of their crapola, and I tell you, I got a little bone to pick with Newsweek, but like for instance, right after 9 and then 1-1, okay? If you go back and look at their special editions of 911 and the issues they put out directly after that incident happened, they had one reporter in particular writing stories that had never wrote for a national magazine ever, and did pages and pages of stories, cover stories, and hasn't done a national story since. And I happen to know the person. Was stunned, was shocked. And I'll venture to say that they're not over bright, but they had sources, okay? And I'll save that for another day. But I have the magazine. I have a couple of the special editions from that fateful day. But anyway, here come these news reports. One of them came out from Newsweek and said that Donald Trump's attorney committed an egregious offense or some verbiage to that effect. That was a headline. And I didn't know who it was from. And I had already heard that Jack Smith's crew admitted to misleading a federal judge. Keep in mind, they have been calling Eileen Cannon stupid, foolish. It's all documented on their YouTube page. And here comes this big news out where Donald Trump is putting out the world Jack Smith needs to go to jail. Articles about how they lied to a federal judge and they tampered with evidence. Okay, and they set up photos of supposed classified documents. They colluded with the news media. Well, I get a news alert. Oh, what could it be? Is it about this situation with Jack Smith? Is it about this with all the crooked prosecutors? No. It's Newsweek saying Donald Trump's attorney committed something wrong. So it's written by Sean O'Driscoll from Newsweek. The judge in Donald Trump's hush money trial should query Trump's lawyer after he seemingly agreed a gag order prevented the president from testifying, an attorney has said, claiming, quote, serious ethical violation may have been committed. What the hell is he talking about? Donald Trump's Donald Trump's attorney. The judge should look into serious ethical violations. Lawyer Todd Blanche stood beside Trump and nodded his head as Trump turned to him for advice while making his claim at a news conference. So Trump at a news conference apparently said, how am I supposed to testify if you got a gag order on me? If I can't say certain things about certain people, how can I testify and not violate your gag order? And the attorney's nodded his head. That's a good question. And they want this focus to be on Trump's attorney. Well, get this part of the article. I didn't copy the whole thing. I just said, aha. So one of the next paragraphs says, and attorney Ron Filipkowski, remember that name, who is an editor-in-chief of the liberal media site Midas Trash, I mean Touch, wrote on X, formerly Twitter, on Thursday that Merchan should query Blanche's advice to Trump. I was saying they don't put in there. I didn't see anywhere where they put in their channel information or in their anything about their videos that they put out. If they were attorneys, who's an attorney, how long, any of their credentials, but they always legal AF and put out these opinions. And I've said before, they should be forced to disclose whether or not they're attorneys. And it was not that long ago that attorneys couldn't even advertise in a daggone phone book. So other than their name and title. So anyway, it goes on to say, Filipkowski has long been an outspoken Trump critic and describes himself on social media as, quote, Republican Party insane asylum escapee. Trump was addressing the media outside the courtroom on Thursday when he made his comments. It is unclear from video footage whether Blanche was agreeing that Trump couldn't testify or merely agreeing Trump was under a gag order. So here's this Filipkowski putting out on social media demanding one of Trump's attorneys be sanctioned, claiming to be a media source, and doesn't say a damn thing about Jack Smith, one, whether or not he's even eligible to be a special prosecutor, two, what's the story on this? Hiding information. What's the story on this? Tampering with information, dumping millions of pages of so-called evidence, thousands and thousands and thousands of pages redacted where you don't know what the hell it's supposed to be, and demanding to go to trial. You have people right now. Let's go now. Wait a minute. Can I look at these 9 million pages you dumped on? No, we got to go to trial. So people like this Filipkowski hollers, speedy trial. It's in the Constitution. Andrew Weissman, all of them have law licenses, okay? Andrew Weissman was working for the special prosecutor in the Mueller gang, right? These people are supposed to be held to a high standard. Listen, speedy trial is so somebody doesn't sit in flipping jail for 2 or 3 or 4 years before they get a chance to have a trial. It is to protect the rights of the accused. A speedy trial is not to be twisted and construed into the public consciousness as something that a defendant is required to do, or that the state is entitled to railroad somebody without giving him a chance to confront their accuser or to look at the evidence against them. And they should know better. And they're doing it. And hey, I'm a layman. We're all, doing our thing, had our careers or currently working our careers, not in law. But what I just said, anybody with a couple of brain cells in their head can understand what I'm saying. That they're twisting the words in the Constitution about a person being entitled to a speedy trial. They're twisting it to where the government is entitled to railroad people. And if we know it, that they're twisting stuff around, they should know it. In other words, lawfare is too clean of a word for it. Okay. There has to be another term for it. Mr. T calls it BS. Okay. Even that's too good of a word for lawfare. But what they're doing is tantamount, in my opinion, to a criminal level of election interference and subversion, especially when Trump was president of the United States. So I don't know. I didn't mean to go on that tirade, but I did. But now we got some names. We got some verification that this Midas touch, Midas trash, as I refer to them, and I will refer to them henceforth as Midas trash. I feel, hey, that Republic of Georgia over in the East, they had 2 readings about that law that is going to require people that accept money from foreign sources, okay, that they have to disclose it. That should be the same thing in this situation. If they're being paid by Soros, non-governmental organizations, supposedly, and a foreign power's interests, okay? Because, hey, I don't care, how entertaining a YouTube channel is. You don't get those kind of views without help from the rhythm, okay? From the rhythm. I remember when they started that garbage channel, all right? And I've seen celebrities, I've seen all kinds of people. Nobody got the kind of traction they got in as short a time as they got. Who's pulling the strings? Oh, yeah, I gripe about, my subscription. It takes me 6 months to get 100 more subscribers or whatever it was, some little piddly amount. Yeah, that's because they suppress views. They suppress your exposure. But on the other hand, you got a crowd like this coming out with anybody who is not suffering from the derangement syndrome would look at it and be offended at the desultory and insulting way they treat conservatives and Mr. T. For them to have that kind of viewership is abnormal. All right, that kind of growth in viewership. So it's going to tie into that platforms like this are going to collapse under the weight of their own illegality. So I'll just keep plugging along. I appreciate the people who subscribed. I had some people unsubscribe, and then the same amount new subscribers plus some. So the net result is growth, but it's slow growth. But I can't please everybody, and do the best I can. Hi, MS Motorsports. How you doing? So anyway, propaganda, right, Ian? That's a good word. I wonder if I get in trouble for putting that word up there. Propaganda. For freedom. How you doing? So anyway, propaganda. They got so much of it flying around. And we just got to duck it and not to get any on us. And the terrible thing, I was talking about how I was going through that magic letter, right? Posts. And I put in a keyword. And people who are new to this were doubters. They might have some fun with this. If they get involved in checking out these things, the magic letter, I call it, for lack of a better term. I still got another Newsweek article. Oh my gosh. I'm looking at these articles and just shake my head. This guy, this Newsweek again. Donald Trump's defense undercut by breathtaking, quote, breathtaking bit of testimony. And do they report one word about how Michael Cohen is getting roasted like a chestnut? Anything about Hope Hicks? They put a picture of her on MSNBC or whatever the hell the name of it is. And people in the comments were going, oh, please tell the story on terrible Donald Trump, Hope Hicks. Oh, thank you. Here, Donald Trump's going to get it now. And Hope Hicks gave testimony that was perfectly fine. Didn't damage Trump at all. Matter of fact, made Cohen look like a moron. They mention that? No, they say this interesting bit of testimony is breathtaking by Donald Trump. And it's a quote from an attorney named Kirshner. Kirshner said his breath was taken away by this bit of testimony. And I said, well, what the hell is he talking about? And let me see if I can find it here. Oh, it is where Trump said that is relying on a Supreme Court case from the 1800s. 1800s. In a new motion filed Thursday, to U.S. District Judge Eileen Cannon, who's overseeing the case. This is the other case. This legal analyst said that Trump's attempt at protesting this selective prosecution was doomed to fail because he's relying on this case from 1886, a Supreme Court decision where selective prosecution is not allowed under equal protection under the law, right? Trump's team cites the court case Yick Woe versus Hopkins involving Lee Yick, who was convicted for operating a laundry. Imagine that, a Chinese laundry in San Francisco. The immigrants sued and eventually won a landmark Supreme Court case that stated that Yick's equal protection clause under the 14th Amendment was being violated. In the case's decision, Judge Stanley Matthews wrote that even if a law's wording appears fair, the Constitution bars a law if it is administered with an, quote, evil eye and an unequal hand, so as practically to make unjust and illegal discrimination. If that doesn't fit what is happening to Trump, every one of the charges in New York are first-time charges, right? Equal protection under the law. You don't go after somebody for the first time, especially a president of the United States. So, an evil eye and unequal hand, so as to practically make unjust and illegal discrimination. So, there's more on this where Trump put up examples, which I just remember the evil eye, okay? Whoa, I didn't mean to get rid of that part. I'm trying to go through here. This Stankman fraud, okay? That was another article that popped up on my phone. that we were talking about. I said Stankman-Fraud ain't going to do 25 years. His rival, Changpeng Zhao, was handed a 4-month prison sentence a month earlier on the opposite coast in downtown Manhattan. FTX's Sam Bankman-Fraud received a 25-year prison sentence. It seems underwhelming and somewhat anticlimactic finish to a protracted battle between Zhou and Bankman-Fried, who were legendary adversaries as well as key stewards of the $2.2 trillion crypto empire. So there's some kind of game going on there, okay? One guy on the East Coast gets 4 months, and the one on the other coast gets, other way around, gets 25 years. That's going to relate right back to equal protection under the law. You watch what I'm saying. They're going to reduce his sentence dramatically when people aren't looking. And let's see. See what I'm saying, folks? If you have that Supreme Court decision, an evil eye and an unequal hand, Trump will prevail on that. Sam Bankman-Fraud, he's going to say, wait a minute, how come I got 25 years and my rival, who's doing the same thing as me, only got 4 months? I'm just pointing that out as an undertone to some of the things that are going on. And if you remember how Maxine Waters was giving him little dreamy looks and hugging up to him, letting him know, scam Stankman-Fraud, that he was going to be just fine. Now you see how it works, okay? And Judge Kaplan is the same one handling Stankman-Fraud as the one who handled one of the cases against Trump, okay? And he'll rub it in their face that equal protection under the law and reduce that sentence. Because they know Trump's going to win. He's got Supreme Court precedent. And what they're doing to him is unprecedented. It's not equal protection under the law. Open and close. And there you have it. Yeah, hit the thumbs up. I appreciate it. Whoa, slackers. Yeah, she had nothing to do with the case, single songwriter. They drug her in there for nothing, but MSNBC and all them, I took a screenshot. Hi, Ravens. I took a screenshot of MSNBC put on YouTube like she was coming in with some big dramatic thing that she looked like. They were portraying her subliminally as a wronged woman who's coming to testify against Trump. And the comments, I should have screenshotted them. They're pitiful. People saying, oh, get him. Yeah, he's going to jail now. And what the hell is it with these people? The Schadenfreude is thick with these people. Hi, Kim. How you doing? Yeah, they've been stomping all over. We don't know how long. Well, I tell you, if you all don't mind, I'm going to go to, after I read this update about Zelensky, I'm going to go to the magic letter where I did my research on issues we were talking about Thursday and Friday, about how I know that these groups have been observed, I'll put it that way, by military intelligence. But real quick, Zelensky, the Russian Ministry of Internal Affairs has put the leader of Kiev terrorists Vladimir Zelensky on the wanted list. If this news is not fake, which I doubt that it is, this means the actual recognition of the Kiev elite as an illegal government and actual criminals. Now, this is a news source I've been following for years, okay? They don't put out stuff halfway. This step means that a criminal case has been opened up against Zelensky and the company, which the framework of which a search has been announced. You got to excuse the translation, okay? In turn, all of the above means there can be no negotiations with these people, since Russia does not negotiate with those it is looking for crimes that have been committed. So, okay, no wonder he bought Prince Charles's house in London, right? Or England, Britain, all right? This step is not just a formal kick to Zelensky. It means that negotiations with him are possible only about one thing: his surrender. In fact, as of today, Ukraine has been declared an illegal entity, and its leadership is subject to arrest and trial. You know, a lot of sites have been saying that for a long time, and this particular news service has never reported that. Now they have. So I think it carries weight. So we'll see how the dynamic, just keep that in mind for the future dynamic. And the other thing that came out, this is a TikTok situation. You know, we got this big ban on TikTok bouncing around. But I've said in the past that I've gotten a lot of videos that the rhythm would not like that have gotten through on TikTok. So I'm wondering if that's just not a counter op. I've seen a lot of stuff get taken down that were good for the cause, that you wouldn't get away with on this platform. So a video on one of my Telegram channels came through. A Ukrainian TikTok user decided to clearly answer a question from one of his subscribers regarding Russian missile strikes to residential buildings. The Ukrainians hide their equipment in courtyards of apartment buildings using people as human shields. And the TikTok user posted a video along with this that shows him sitting in his living room, a young guy, looks like he may be 20. And he gets up, and you see the camera going through the living room to a window. He points down in the courtyard, apartment buildings all around, and down in the courtyard, what do you see? Ukrainian soldiers and a missile battery. And this kid was saying, if the Russians strike this missile battery, everybody in that apartment complex is at risk. They're using them for Russian shields. It's video proof. There's no way it could be made up or AI'd or anything like that. And of course, he doesn't realize it, but he's taking risk where they could do to him what they did to Coach Red Pill, okay, that American citizen we've been talking about for 2 years who lost his life over there. So, hi, Sherry, how you doing? So if it wasn't for that app, TikTok, stuff like that wouldn't be getting out. And Trump, the last time he referred to TikTok, he said, "Don't blame me, you young people. Don't blame me, blame Joe Biden." Trump has never formally called for TikTok to be taken down. He did talk about the I guess the service that it runs through, but not the service itself. But anyway, oh, and how about this? One more little bit of important information from you, Crizzle. And where do you get a load of who they're talking about? Ukraine creditors. Creditors are losing patience and want to achieve interest payments on government debt after a long break. This comes from the Wall Street Journal, okay? Ukraine hadn't been paying interest payments for a long time, and the creditors are jumping up and down about it. We're talking about bondholders, Ukrainian bonds, including investment companies. Guess what? Black and then Rock and PIMCO. They intended to receive up to $500 million per year in interest payments. That's not the bond amount. That's just the interest, and they're not getting it. Oh, so now we know who's investing, so-called air quotes, in the war. You heard the company, BLACK, right? Rock. They're not getting their good money. Good. What? They'll collapse under the weight of their own illegality? Oh, yeah, I think so. We're talking about, let's say, according to sources, they're forming a commission and hiring consultants to negotiate the resumption of payments. Good luck with that. That were suspended after the outbreak of hostilities. The group wants Kiev to reach a deal in which it would resume payments in exchange for writing off much of the country's outstanding debt. If a deal cannot be concluded, Ukraine may default after the debt holiday established by the companies. You think they got any intention of paying that off? They've got zero intention. And who's going to take the lumps? The stockholders, okay? You all know what companies BlackRock controls. Disney's one of them, and Disney controls ABC News. I mean, we're talking banks, media companies, entertainment companies, real estate companies, name it. And they had PP'd away investors' money into those bonds, and they haven't been getting a dime back on it, and they're not gonna. Yeah, if we get 100 likes and somebody from the left gets busted this week, that's what I was thinking when Trump put out that truth to arrest Jack Smith now. I said, boy, wouldn't that be glorious? That would be I was saying I want my smack upside the head to these characters. It's got to be coming close. You know, by close, I mean within 6 months, because we've been trudging through this for years. So let's, hey, who knows? Because they admitted to misleading a federal court, okay? Just contempt of court could get you in the joint. But misleading the court, they cooked up that Brady rule to protect prosecutors if they make a mistake or oversight, or if they don't think something's important and really should have been. They call it a Brady rule, where they get some sanctions or some silly, no, not outright lying to a court. Oh, wow, yeah, well, dip out and give me a thumbs up. Helps the video to get around. So anyway, They one more thing about Zelensky in the Russian Duma, just to confirm that these reports about a criminal investigation is real. State Duma deputy from the Crimea told a news service that this is a clear signal to Zelensky's Western supervisors. Western supervisors? Can you say Barry Obama? And company, that Russia no longer perceives him as a politician and a representative of the Ukrainian government. Zelensky is no longer seen by Russia as someone who could sign any peace treaties. From now on, this is a criminal who committed genocide of Ukrainians and encroached on the peaceful life of the Russian population. Now that is a formal statement. That's a formal statement of the from the Russian State Duma. So there is something to that. Did anybody guess who that other person is in the photo on my thumbnail? While you're out there looking at that photo, give me a thumbs up. And then who are these people in the thumbnail? We know one person got, or everybody got who one person is, but not the other one. Ha ha ha! I'll tell you here in a little bit. Let me see if I can get to that magic 17, because I was talking about the last time and I didn't bring it up. Let's see here. Ha ha ha! There it is. And then I'll tell you what word I used and how to relax and have fun with the 17th letter and learn quite a bit. Richard can't remember the other guy. I'll tell everybody in a little bit. Yeah, Kim, it can't be that hard to hit the like button, folks. Ha ha ha! And if you're not subscribed, to subscribe. Well, let me read this first post that I was looking for that confirms that military intelligence has already been observing, and documenting these groups. Like, who was it? Eric Adams in New York. Don't think those crackdowns at the universities in New York, they're the ones that first went in there and cleaned out things. We were told that patriots were put in trusted places. He came out of nowhere, and replaced de Blasio or whatever. And next thing you know, he's ordering crackdowns on these students and getting them locked up and cleaned out of there. Next thing you know, the counselor or whatever voted to give immigrants cards and all this stuff. But he was saying that something needed to be done, that he was making public statements about how unfair it was to New Yorkers. Public perception is everything. So now you have representatives of the New York Police Department, coming out and saying they have evidence of outsiders financing those demonstrations, handing out leaflets on how to get away with riotous and violent acts, how to evade the police. All these things tie back into laws that have already been passed back in the 60s. But here's one post I'm going to read to you, where a person on the board made a comment that the 17th letter thought was important enough to repost. What must be completed to engage military intelligence over other three-letter agencies? That was the one I read on Friday, post number 11. What needed to happen? During the 50s and 60s, federal troops and federal National Guard forces, accompanied by military intelligence personnel, were deployed to help integrate Southern schools and to help deal with civil disorders in Detroit in 1967 and other cities the following year after the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Okay? You had a series of political assassinations occurring. Throughout this period, military intelligence units also continued to collect data on Americans at home who were suspected of involvement in subversive activities. In the late 1960s, the Pentagon compiled personal information on more than 100,000 politically active Americans in an effort to quell civil rights and anti-Vietnam War demonstrations and to discredit protesters. The Army used 1,500 plainclothes agents to watch demonstrations, infiltrate organizations, and spread disinformation. Did my voice drop off? Because I stayed out of the studio for a while. Remember this time period, folks. Late 60s going into the early 70s. Because I'm going to bring something up that Trump said. According to one report, the Army had at least one observer for every demonstration of more than 20 people. The Army's activities were summed up by Senator Sam Ervin, allegedly for the purpose of predicting and preventing civil disturbances which might develop beyond the control of state and local officials. Army agents were sent throughout the country to keep surveillance over the civilian population, express their sentiments over the way the civilian population expressed their sentiments about government policies. Just checking to make sure I'm still on. Okay, I got 5x5s. Okay, good. In churches, on campuses, in classrooms, in public meetings, they took notes, tape recorded, and photographed people who were dissenting in thought, word, or deed. This included clergymen, editors, public officials, and anyone who sympathized with the dissenters. And the anonymous person put in the at the end of this recounting, ha ha ha, Trump has had military intelligence infiltrate Antifa and all the dissenting local governments. And the response by the 17th letter was, that's a good find. You're on the right track. So remember, when Fani Willis was testifying and she brought in her father, who made these claims that their house was vandalized and with a lot of racist slurs, and they were afraid to lay their head there and all this stuff, and how he was a big shot over there in South Africa when they were overthrowing apartheid, how he was a member, and he was a member of the Black Panthers. I've talked about them, affiliated with the Weather Underground, okay, and then Acorn. All these groups melded into Antifa. Well, did you notice how Trump kind of threw a barb out there when he last week, when he got the gag order was going on? He was saying, I'd be proud to go to jail. I'll be like Nelson Mandela. Okay. He's throwing it right back at him. And that story about Fani Willis's father, he's in his 90s. proves that these people stick together. One post describes it as, think of it as a worldwide spider web. These groups with similar goals to gain and maintain power for the sake of control, similar interests, okay? Namely, I got to be careful with this word. Muslim is one word, and then brotherhood is the other one. Have the same interests, okay? Communist philosophy as the NAZIs, as the Black Panthers, as all those groups I just mentioned. You got to think of it like they're building a web, and we're the fly, okay? The average person is the fly that they feed off of. All right. And I'll get into other posts in future broadcasts that say exactly that. Yeah, I heard Afro Man's Hunter got eye. And I'm going to talk more about it, but just real quick, I'll tell you who's that other person in the picture. Take another look at that picture. Imagine that face without a mustache, without sideburns, and long hair. And what I was going to put in there, transparency and prosecution is the only way. I was going to make capital letters TRANS and then the regular letters parency, but it messed up on my keyboard. It wouldn't quite do it that way. Transparency and prosecution is the only way. It's the only way. And that says it on the 17th letter. I'll go a little longer so I can complete these thoughts. Yeah, Debbie, I talked about him Thursday and then again Friday. And earlier in the broadcast, I mentioned how after I talked about Dick Van Dyke coming out and showed you his thumbnail earlier in the week, that Doug TenNapel came out and did a story on exactly what I was talking about. Exactly, Margarita. Margarita got it. How are you, Margarita? Oh my gosh, no, I'm sorry, Margarita, you didn't get it. I'm sorry. The name you mentioned there, Valerie, is involved, part of the MB, I'll call MB, the Brotherhood, okay? And the first word is Muslim. So when you hear me say MB, that's what I mean. Take another guess, Margarita, you're close. You're close. I showed a classified letter from this person. The last staff meeting in Obama's White House before Trump took over, I showed a classified letter from this person whose face was shaven and was wearing a wig. Where's Single Songwriter? I thought Single Songwriter knew. There you are, Boommaker. Okay, I'll just go ahead and tell y'all. Susan Rice. The person holding hands with a cigarette between his fingers with Barry Soweto, aka Barack Obama, with a mustache, is Susan Rice. They're all tied in with the MB, okay? John Kerry's tied in with the MB, and I'll go over all. Yeah, Margarita, Susan Rice. There you go. It's Susan Rice. So let me see where I got, since I'm going to go a little longer now. Where did I get? Okay, I'll finish up with this. And you all, and then I'll tell you what word I used to do recreational research. Okay? Get a load of this. They want to keep you poor and in need of government assistance. The bigger the government, the more control they have, the more power they possess. When you are in need, you are weak. When you are weak, you are not strong. When you are not strong, you do not fight back. This is as real as it gets. They never thought she would lose. Why? Because they thought they were in control. Transparency is the only way forward. Transparency is the only way to prove to the public that everything sold to you as the truth was nothing but a fake narrative designed to keep you, the people, powerless and keep them in control, i.e., to keep them in power. Because power equals control. Fake news, propaganda arm of the Democrat machine. Sole responsibility is to prevent the truth from ever being disseminated to the masses. Mass infiltration everywhere. Transparency is the only way forward concerning public opinion. Prosecution is the only way forward to save and defend the rule of law. Prosecution and transparency is the only way to save our way of life. I typed in the word infiltrate, but I left off the E. Why did I leave off the E? Because it would give me every form of infiltrated, infiltration, whatever variant of the word. If you put in infiltrate but leave off the E, infiltrate, okay, and you'll get 53 posts at your leisure. Read them. It shows you an article. Click on it if you want to. Most of the time you can tell by the title of the article what it's about. Mainstream sources giving you open source news. Factual. And I found out it would take me, I would have to do a whole program on just the gobs of information that came that I got from reading the post with the one word infiltrate without the E. And here's one I want to read to you. Just a message to a person named Richard. And it came up with the word infiltration, okay? Pro tip, look at CrowdStrike. CrowdStrike managed the infiltration program based on payments to the Clinton Foundation. The more you know. And it links to a Washington Post article. Okay, the Clinton Foundation is the key, not just for Haiti. It links to an article. Washington Post, local Virginia politics, Clinton Foundation, McAuliffe donor caught up in Chinese cash for votes scandal. You click on it, it takes you right to the article. This was in 2018. Guess what? Terry McAuliffe was Virginia governor.
He's the one that helped set up the narrative of Charlottesville. Among other things, they're all like worms in a clump of dirt. But I tell you what, one of them I took a screenshot of because I think it's touching. From 2018, somebody wrote to the 17th letter, and they read it and said it was, let's post this, and they did. I am isolated with my husband, and thank God, our dogs. To our family, we can't even mention the president's name. So we don't, but it hurts so much. We will stay strong. We try not to become bitter and angry. I'm going to interrupt because this was 2018. How many of you all couldn't speak to your own family members? How the controlled media with a drumbeat condemnation of Trump caused strife in your own family. So here they are writing this letter. We are prepared to help and answer when the time comes. I know they need us more than ever, especially my oldest child, because she studied hard to get her job in your country in Virginia. I know for sure that she is not a liberal brainwashed person. My other baby is an autist, and she asks me questions over the news coverage and why they all tell the same. So in other words, they're out of country. They're not in the U.S. One daughter came to America. Okay. The other daughter automatically knows there's something wrong because the media keeps all saying the same thing. She goes on with her letter. Please, CUE, if you know what I mean, I must say this. You, the team, and POTUS are so very loved by us. God bless you from the Netherlands. So again, in 2018, somebody from the Netherlands could see what was going on in our country and see what kind of hell Trump was going through and the evil ones trying to tear him down and how they're grieving over their rest of their family members joining in on the condemnation, not realizing how badly not just America is being affected, but our civilization. So the response back was, you are not alone, patriot. You are part of history. Never in our history has this been attempted. Capital letters. God bless you and your family. Stay strong. Stay the course. WWG, okay, 1, WGA. And you all know what that means. So at least I got those few posts out to you, and I'll go over some more in future broadcasts. Just remember, I use that one word without E on the end, and 53 will come up. Take your time, read them. If you don't know every abbreviation, don't worry about it. DF is Dianne Feinstein, by the way. Okay? Rubbing elbows with Chinese spies for 20 years for money, okay? Not because she was confused or didn't know. She was selling out her country. You'll see all of that. You'll see that Peter Strzok's daughter is in charge of SEC investigations. Okay? That's why they were threatening Elon Musk and Trump over their business dealings over Truth Social and over X. Okay? You see all kinds of stuff. So like I say, do it for recreational research. Just put that one word in there, infiltrate, without the E. So anyway, folks, let me see what's going on here. All right. Well, that's right. All we can do is hang in there. Just looking through the chats, folks. Well, I appreciate you. I hope everybody that liked the video gave me a like. If you don't like it, give me a thumbs down. I mean, hey, let's all be honest with each other. And if anybody came in with a differing point of view and I didn't spot you, I apologize. One thing that internal memo from UTISL got out about 3 years ago, that the people they were using to review videos that were discussing this information dissemination operation known as the 17th letter, they said that they were concerned that their staff members doing the reviews were being converted from TD and then S, okay? Going from TDS to waking up. So let's see what happens, folks. Yeah, Feinstein taking a dirt nap now. All right, folks, I appreciate you all spending your precious time with me. I want to thank everybody that helped the channel out earlier in the week. I guess we'll call Sunday the end of the week. But Mike and Bev helped out, and Robin Ward helped out. Gary, hilarious. Lone Wolf, Miss Mendersue. I appreciate it. Angela, Norm, Real Hawk, Marston. Okay. Love to Garden and Wanda. I could go way back farther. A lot of people helping out, and I do appreciate it. So anyway, I'll probably go live tomorrow. I don't really bring these things up, but I have to go to the doctor on Tuesday. And I don't know what's up with that. I don't know. Kind of got something needs to be taken a look at. So if I'm not up Tuesday or tomorrow, anyway, keep your fingers crossed for me. And I'll give you an update when I'm able. So we'll see which way it goes. All right, folks. But if you're subscribed and hit the notification bell, you know when I go live. So anyway, you all have a great night. I'll be seeing you soon. This is Mountain Man, over and out.